Hi, and welcome to a new episode of The Grapevine. Today we'll continue our episode from last time, which is basically the relation we talked about the relationship between the youth and church, and we stopped, obviously, before getting the answer for my question to all the youth. Do you think you will be judged, or do you think any youth or teenager will be judged if they go to their servant or Sunday school servant or maybe youth meeting servant and tell them, I have a boyfriend or I have a girlfriend? Do you think you will be judged?
Well, I hope not. I don't think that the servant would judge us, but they would try to guide us in the right way, or try to ask why are you in this relationship, or what's attracting you to it.
What makes you think that's what they're going to do? I mean, I think that's a great answer, but have you seen that? Have you noticed that? Do you know anyone else who's experienced that?
Well, like when we're in pre-servants, we're taught, that's like part of the lessons, we're taught to like accept everyone and not judge them, and like listen to them and then try to find an answer.
Great.
I think if it's like it depends on who I'm telling. Like if it's a servant that I know and like I always talk to them, then I will feel like they won't judge me. But if they're like somebody I don't usually talk to, then I would definitely feel like they will judge me.
So you were saying if you don't have, or if you don't know them closely, you're afraid, or you might be scared to say something like that. Not obviously like you or anyone, basically in general, because they might be judged since they don't know you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're supposed to pick the servant that you're most comfortable with, so you can have like a back and forth conversation with them and be able to interact.
Great. Yeah, yes, because obviously it's easier also to talk to someone that you know or you're close to versus someone you don't know. I guess that's even true if we're talking about the priests or abunas in church. You cannot go to approach any abuna and tell him your problems. You have to kind of like have some kind of trust relationship where, okay, he will not say this, or he's not gonna, maybe judge. I mean, I'm not saying that they would, but it's your own fear that you're scared something like this might happen.
Right. How about you guys? I mean, you're older. Have you experienced that, or not necessarily you, but someone you know that's gone to a servant with a problem and that servant has helped them? Or do you feel like that they went to the wrong servant, that servant judged them, or that servant spread the news to the entire church and the whole church is looking at them?
Well, as a servant myself, it's very important to have an open relationship with those that you serve, and to build a relationship of trust. So where I like to start where outside of their personal life. I don't get too deep into their personal life, and I just kind of let them approach me about, what is going on in their life. But, I also care about everything, and I want to make sure that they are on the right track, each and every single one of them. But like I said, it's important to have a relationship of trust, and to start where, with topics of interest, where they are interested the most. For example, my boys are, of course, very into basketball.
Right.
And so we do a lot of basketball talk and a lot of activity with basketball, and working on, that relationship. Eventually, they can trust me with things that are going on in their personal life.
Great.
Mina?
I would say that judging is just like it's a human nature. You really can expect a person to not judge you at all. Of course, he's gonna judge you once you tell out a secret of a certain sin, or that you are in a relationship. Of course, the person is in the back of their mind, even if like subconsciously, they're gonna say, "Oh, really? I thought he was a better kid, maybe." But of course, the thing is, with the fathers of confession or abunas, they're not supposed to at least tell anyone about your secrets or sins, and their job is to really guide you and tell you how to overcome the sin. Likewise, with faithful servants, we should not expect them to tell out the secret. But judging, I believe, is a human nature that happens with the subconscious, and they're not even aware that they're forming a slightly negative image about you.
So you think it might be a negative image, really?
Yes.
I feel like for myself, if someone came to tell me something, I think I would be more understanding because of I don't want to say I'm old, but I'm older, so I've been through that. I understand. So I wouldn't look at someone, I think, in a negative way. I would certainly look at that person with concern and try to come up with. But I don't know. Maybe some people would come up, I guess, automatically with a negative.
I would not say like a negative way,
Right.
but with just a little bit of concern, like you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how about drama with friends at church? Does that lead to the youth leaving the church? Because you guys are best friends, right? You girls are best friends. You've been best friends for a while. If you were to have a fallout, would that push you away from church and make you not want to come to church because you don't want to see Martina, or you don't want to see Sandy, or you, Paul and Mina? If you had a fallout with a good friend at church and there's drama, is that going to make you leave the church?
I actually know a lot of people that have they never come to church anymore because of that, and they had close friends, but they don't talk to them anymore because of a lot of drama. So I don't see them anymore because of that reason.
So drama does make the youth leave the church?
Yes, like a lot.
A lot.
A lot
Wow.
of people.
So it's not the Sunday school lessons. Good to know.
Well, I don't think I would personally do that. I don't know. I just don't see it. But like Martina said, we do know a lot of people that don't want to come to church just because they know that this person are coming, or that this person bothered them with this.
Of course, drama has a big effect on the youth today, and we all see it all the time. And I've personally had friends that have stopped coming to church for a certain period of time just because of things that were going on between them and other individuals. However, if I have drama with my coworkers, am I gonna say I'm not going to work anymore?
Right.
I'm obligated to go to work. With church, I'm not obligated. It's something that's out of my own will, just because. And that brings me to my next point is I have to ask myself, why am I going to church? Am I going to church because my friends are at church, or I am going to church to hang out with them? Or, I have to establish what is my reason. And for me to do that, once I do have a situation that I've come across with another individual, then I can remind myself why I'm going to church. I'm really going to church to build a better relationship with God, because I want to work on my spiritual life and being a better overall person. And so that definitely helps with drama and things that we experience.
I also know people that they don't come to church anymore because their old friends like the girl they like, and it's that's one of the most reason they don't want to come to church for.
Wow, that's interesting. So how do we bring them back? What's the solution? Do you guys know? How can we bring the youth back even though there's drama, or how do we
Well, first
overcome
of all,
this
I don't think it's
struggle?
only friendships that drive people away from church. It might be just people in general. People start talking, and then rumors spread around.
Gossip.
And then, so it's like people feel like they're preventing the drama from happening when they don't go to church.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
One of my old friends, he doesn't come anymore because of what old people think. They're always like, oh my God, he's this bad kid or whatever. But sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right. And he's just like, I'm not going to go to church anymore.
Mina, would you like to respond to that?
I don't have a lot of stories with drama, honestly.
That's good.
that's good.
news.
Thank God. Thank God. Yeah, But I mean, I heard a lot stories of my friends, leaving church because of rumors that spread about them, and of course it's sad, and it saddens my heart. But I think that they could be more brave to stay in the church and try to correct the wrong visions or opinions that people formed about them.
Yeah, that's a really good solution as well. So how do we get them? I mean, it seems like maybe they're fragile in the way they're thinking. So how do we kind of tread lightly and help them come back, since they're thinking that they're doing everyone a favor by not showing up, when the only ones that they're really hurting are themselves? Because eventually the drama will die down and the gossip will end, and it's not the biggest thing that's going on. So how do we attempt to bring them back? Do you guys have like an answer? Do you reach out to your friends that have left, or try to tell them to come back, him, her?
We tried, but I think like if like older people talk to them about it, that would be a good thing.
Right.
I have tried to bring friends back to church, but it can't only take one person's influence, not all the time. And I think we can start by making them come on like different days. Like sometimes there's liturgy on Friday or Wednesday. They can start with that and then ease into coming back to church again.
Okay.
So basically, they are avoiding the church because of the rumors that's about them, or because they don't want to meet
People that
the people that they have, exactly, angry at, or I mean, don't want, or trying to avoid certain people or certain youth. Is that what it is?
I think it's both. They're both trying to avoid, but the rumors also, like, they might involve their parents and stuff, and people start to get offended because it's their family. So they try to just stay away so they won't hear it.
And do you think, well, because both of you told me that there are, I'm not sure if it's a big number, but there is a good number of cases like this. So did any of them come back, or maybe did the servants try to bring them back? And if not, then what do you, like, same as what Susie said, what do you think is the solution? Because if we really leave them completely, then who knows what's going to happen next? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, are they going to go to a different church, or are they going to leave the church completely, or just do the wrong thing altogether? I'm not sure. So what do you think? Like, where does it start? How does it, or what are the steps to solve this problem? Let me put it this way.
We see this with adults as well. It's definitely not just with the youth. We have seen that with adults where wives are fighting, or husbands, or something, some kind of drama, and maybe we won't see that person in church for a while, and then they'll come back. Or even if there's drama with the abunas themselves, we'll see that people will leave for a little while, but they'll come back. So we know the adults eventually come back, or they find another church. But what about the youth? We want to make sure that the youth comes back, because they are the future of the church. So I mean, I know we're asking you guys, it's kind of a heavy question, and you're like, well, I don't know, I'm just in high school, I'm in college, but we want to know. We want to get to the chair. You guys know more than us what the issue is with your friends, but we don't as servants.
I think they need to want to come back for them to, it's like starting the process is by actually wanting to do, and then having the motivation. And I think that the servants shouldn't give up on them. And I know, like, it might be like a long time, like years. It could take years for them to come back. But I think as long as the servants are still trying to get them back, at one point they're going to have a wake-up call, I hope, and then come back, but slowly maybe.
It's good to know.
I think the people that leave the church, I think that their parents don't really talk to them and make sure that they're like going to church, because like when I try to skip church, my parents are just like, no, you gotta go. So they're always like, no, it's your choice, just stay. But like they actually gotta make sure they come with them and go.
If we say that the main reason they left the church is because they were treated in a hostile way, or maybe they were disrespected or not accepted. This one I see a lot. Maybe a youth comes with a really weird like haircut, like a mohawk or something, and then Abuna would go and sternly talk to him and like, "What are you doing? You're a sinner, or this haircut is for bad people. Please shave it right now, or go home. I'm not gonna see you in church with this haircut until you shave it." So of course this would make the youth feel very unaccepted.
Exactly.
Like he didn't even say hello to me or hi, how are you? He didn't talk any nicely with me at all.
Right.
He just ridiculed my style, and maybe the priest didn't even talk to the kid or saw the group that he was hanging out with. And in that instance that I'm thinking about, it was just like peer pressure. But the kid usually didn't have that hairstyle or way of clothes. So I believe that acceptance or the lack of acceptance is also like a main drive force that drives people away from the church. And the only ways to get that is to have take off like the judgmental eyes and put on the loving eyes, which the servants and the priests should always have. And the way to get the youths back is to also show them love and acceptance. It's exactly like a both way street.
So for that example, he was just trying to, I guess, to blend in within his culture or community, maybe his high school, whatever it is. But as a Abuna or a priest, he probably looked at it in a, not in a judging way, but maybe this is not the appropriate way to present yourself. But on the other hand, exactly. But he also did not hear his problem or his concern, or maybe if it's just, all right, you know what, keep it for a little bit and then change it. So this way, hey, you also like blending in, change, you did it the style and you change it on your own. Maybe that would probably solve the problem, and that's probably not a big thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Because sometimes if we pick on the very small things, that also probably drives the youth away, because a lot of them will say, I mean, what's the big deal about hair color? What's the big deal about the style? I mean, I'll just do it for a little bit, see myself in it for a couple of weeks or something, and I'll change it, or I'll see that it's not acceptable. Maybe that's acceptance, basically, as Mina said, is one of the solutions.
I see that point, but at the same time, I want to play devil's advocate. What if the person is coming, let's say girls are coming in and they're wearing the short shorts. The hairstyle is one thing, but if they're coming in and they're dressed really like for church and they're coming to youth meeting with short shorts or something that's a little revealing, I'm thinking Abuna's attitude or judging or kind of like cruel way is not necessarily at the person. It's at the person who's dressed that way, but it's also because Abuna is concerned for the boys in the youth group that are going to see this, and it's going to maybe provoke thoughts or something else. So, I mean, with the haircut, maybe that's a little harsh if Abuna is yelling at him. But if a girl is coming in and she's wearing a mini skirt or shorts, or her stomach is showing or something, and she's coming to the youth group and there's all these boys that are coming, are they going to come to see the girl, or are they coming to hear the sermon or the lesson, you know? Or both. So, I mean, I definitely see the point with the haircut. Not a big deal, but if Abuna's coming at a girl who's dressed half naked, I can understand him yelling at her. And it shouldn't push her out of church. It should make her say, maybe I need to think about my brothers or the opposite sex who might, have impure thoughts because of what I'm wearing or what I'm doing. So, I mean, the haircut thing though, I don't know if they should get yelled at. The mohawk, I don't know, maybe he did it for something in college, some club to get in. I have no idea. But
changing style,
right,
is always a good thing, in the eyes of the youths. Of course, they're trying to experiment with new styles, new types of clothes. Maybe skinny
fitting
jeans, maybe ripped jeans sometimes.
Oh, well, the ripped jeans, well, that's.
But it gets really really bad, with the levels of ripped.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think, Paul?
I think one huge way we can impact them is to actually. And this is reflecting on what Mina said, acceptance. The way we can confirm that is to make them feel significant, and not to us first, but to God. And of course, because we're not the only ones that are desiring the return, but God as well.
Right.
And we should just make them feel important and significant, and we can do that by giving them responsibilities and roles. And that way they know that without them being there, this role or this responsibility cannot be fulfilled.
Right.
So that's one
Really
huge
good,
way.
yeah. I like that.
So regarding the issue with the miniskirt or the short shorts,
Yeah.
I believe the best way to handle is the way of talking. This is the most important things. It's not about
way of talking.
it's not about the exact words that you use or how you rebuke them, but the
Style.
the style of talking. But if you talk in a soft tone with love, it's gonna show through your voice, your tonalities. You're gonna show that you love her, you're concerned about her and the group. But if you talk like offensively, you're gonna of course make the kid or the girl feel offended, and she might even not come back again. So it's about the way of talking.
The way of talking.
Yeah.
I think I agree with him. I think if Abuna went to a girl and he said, like, he yelled at her and he said, "Don't wear this again," I think should be like, "No, like, I like this, I'm gonna wear it again." Like, he yelled at me. So I feel like if he talked to her nicely, she'll understand and she won't dress that way again.
So the soft talk. Okay.
Yeah,
I love it. More loving, softer tone. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Friendly, more friendly.
Okay, friendly. Well, the Abunas are older, so they're tired of repeating, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
But I agree. I mean, the soft tone, and I guess they do have. I mean, I notice our Abuna says it multiple times. He's addressing the congregation about the dress code for the men and the women. I don't see too many of the ladies listening sometimes. Our class is pretty good most of the time, but sometimes not so much. I'm like, I know he said it about a zillion times. Everybody must have heard it at least 100 times in the church.
I think with the fashion and the way people come dressed to church, some people just don't do it intentionally. Like, they don't plan ahead that I'm gonna dress like this in an appropriate way,
Right.
and go to church with that. So again, like everyone said, with a loving tone and just explaining that each place has its respect, especially the house of God.
Right.
So with a loving tone and with explaining things in a simple way, makes a huge difference.
I would definitely like hearing this from the youth. I mean, now we know how to approach you guys, and sarcasm, I guess, is not a good way.
So,
As I tend to do.
so
Guilty.
Susie, speak softly,
I have
please.
to be kinder to the girls when I talk to them.
Here you go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
That's the way to go.
She's
There's
always
my
kind.
flaw. Huh?
Oh, okay.
I'm always, she's always kind.
I'm always
So you have
sarcastic.
fans here.
Yeah, they probably think they're gonna fail in class. There's no failing. That's good.
Okay, so basically, as we heard from our youth, it's about acceptance and the style or the way the servants or Abuna present the problem, or the way they speak to them, makes a huge difference. If it's a more soft tone or if it's more accepting style, then you will probably find more response or more acceptance. Okay, I will change my style, or if that's the case, the style, hairstyle, or makeup, or whatever. But obviously, the harder you approach the youth, they will probably be resistant and will not accept it. And I mean, it's even in our houses, like we as mothers, we have the same problem. Basically, if you speak to your daughter or son in a harsh way,
Yes.
most likely they're not going to listen. So you just have to give it to them in a way of advice.
Right, right. Yeah, you guys are teaching us today. I like it.
Yes.
This is our Sunday school lesson.
You see?
As parents, as servants, it's good.
And I think that also, like, back to that topic, I think that influence plays a big role, because sometimes we have like role models, or not exactly role models, like we see adults doing a certain thing, and then we think Well, yeah, Abuna said no, but she's doing it, so, and she's an adult, so she should know better. So why can't I?
Right. So it's good that you were saying that, Sandy, because even Abuna, when he talks to us in the servants meeting, he'll address us and say, you know, we tell the youth to dress appropriately. And then when we see the servants are not dressed appropriately, we're not just hearing it, you're not just negative on the youth, but we're hearing it even from their parents saying, well, you want our daughters and our sons to dress this way, but even the servants aren't dressed that way. So that's a really good point that you're making, that it is affecting you. And so Abuna is right when he tells us this in the servants meeting, like, please make sure that you're covered up and you're dressed appropriately and you're not wearing anything too tight or too short or too whatever. And they talk to us all the time about the way we dress or the way we talk. Abuna always tells us to be very soft and loving on you guys. So even though the sarcasm comes out, he does talk to us about it in a nice way. He tells us nicely, often.
So, any other thoughts?
I wanted to say that there's an issue that I've seen because I attend like multiple churches, and so I've experienced that the issue of micromanagement, of I need to criticize every single action of every single person, so I can make every single thing right in the church, in my church. So of course we know that this has lots of ego behind it. So a way to not to this is also a way to drive people away from the church, is to micromanage every single action, every single outfit that they have, every single haircut, and it would just drive people crazy, because they're not having freedom in their church. They feel that they're being restricted. And let me say a verse to back this up. I've been wanting to say it the whole episode. For I desire mercy and not sacrifice. This is in Hosea 6:6, and this is exactly what we need. We need mercy. We need to be merciful on the people and show them love and acceptance. And now we're gonna get the youths who are away. We're gonna get them back to church, and we're gonna be a very loving family to everyone who comes to our church.
One time, I was like on Facebook in like 7th grade, and then I liked this picture of a cigarette, and then my middle school servant called me. She goes like, "Did you just like this picture?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ!" And then I was like so pissed because like, why? Like, why are you calling me for this?
I don't remember doing that, but
See, that's
And it wasn't you. It was in middle school.
yeah, that's micromanagement. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
And I was like so pissed. I was like, I don't want to see her again. I was like, I went to my mom. I'm like, why? Like, I'm supposed to have my own freedom, okay?
Exactly. There's
like,
no freedom sometimes.
Yeah.
So the servants gotta back off a little. I don't remember calling you, but
These
the
are
servants
minor things, guys. Relax.
Okay.
Okay, so this takes us to the final question for all of you. What do you expect from abunas in church? Obviously, every church. You attend different churches.
okay, well, I don't, like, whenever Abuna sees me, I don't want him remembering what sins I have done, or, like, him thinking, did she actually do this? Because, like I want to repent, and I already confessed, so whenever I talk to him, I really don't want him remembering anything I've done or, like, I told him about.
Okay.
I think I want to have an Abuna that would make me comfortable with talking to him. Like, I think that's the most important to me, because if I can't talk to my Abuna, then who am I gonna talk to? That's the person I confess with. So I think that's the most important thing for me.
Well, of course, Abuna is our spiritual father and guidance, and he is the one that prays and intercedes for us in front of God. So, with that being said, we can expect to go to Abuna about anything and trust him with almost anything that we have going on in our lives. And whether it's confession time or not confession time, I can always go to Abuna for advice. God speaks through Abuna, and just to know that Abuna is accessible to us and to everybody in the church, just a phone call or a text message away, is very comforting.
Great.
Yeah.
Hina?
And I said already the verse, but let me repeat it again. This is my favorite verse so far. For I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Hosea 6:6.
So that's what you expect from Abuna. Okay.
I like it. It's nice.
Susie, any final thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that I really love that you guys were a lot of fun, and you opened my eyes to a lot of what the youth are thinking, and that'll help me serve, and it'll also help me be hopefully a better parent to my kids so that I can be more gentle with them. And I know that they want to experiment with different colors in their hair or hairstyles or clothing, and I want to let them always know, all of the kids, that they're so beautiful and they're so loved, and not just by me but by God the most. So I thank you guys for teaching me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, and that concludes our episode for tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.